Hi, I'm Pete Weber, television voice of the Nashville Predators, and this is the Power Play Break, the place we talk about pucks. Don't you forget it.
Back here, Chris Riley at Champion Sports Bar with Pete Weber of the Nashville Predators. Pete, you've talked about your career. It's been amazing. But now I want to have some lighthearted fun with you and some questions.
You can tell I'm just not up for that at all.
Never.
Okay.
If you had a superpower and could use it in any way, shape, or form, what would it be?
I could be kinky and say X-ray vision, but I think I'd rather be able to fly. Like, I got to tell you, as a kid, my father was an architect, and he did work for this Mrs. Besselos in downtown Galesburg. She was the mother of George Reeves, who played Superman on TV. And she was always going to introduce me to him. It almost happened once, just did not work out. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Hollywoodland, about his demise.
Yes.
But I can recall how when he allegedly committed suicide, all the newspapers, and our house was full of newspapers, were hidden for those 2 days. So 7 or 8 year old Pete wouldn't find out what had happened to his hero. But I'm going to have to go with flying.
What's the best part about being connected to the National Hockey League?
The fact that it is such a small fraternity that is getting larger because of expansion, but the stories that we can share are incredible. To see a Butch Glory again after so many years, go back to Buffalo and to be with Rob Ray, who I traveled with for several seasons, or to see Gilbert Perreault, and how close we are is indicated by this. The security director in Buffalo, Frank Henry, called me within an hour of Rick Martin's passing so that I would know about this in that single car accident that he had. So I think it is the total feeling of fraternity, which I see too with my broadcast partner, Terry Crisp. They recently were all together in Toronto for the Hall of Fame induction of Fred Sherrill, and how close everybody still feels. It's like you put a pause button on your life and can hit play again years later.
If you were able to call one game and put the Pete Weber stamp on it, what would it be, and what game would you like to call? It could be any sport, any time. It's like travel in a time machine back. What would you like to be able to call?
I'd like to go back to October 3rd, 1951, be at the Polo Grounds, and see how I would have handled the Giants win the pennant, the Giants win the pennant, the Giants win the pennant.
Because on the other side, the Dodgers broadcast was sort of like, oh, hey, game's over.
That's right.
And people don't know that.
That's right.
You know,
Red Barber, because of his books primarily, and then because of my time in L.A. Around Vin Scully, is also sort of been like a mentor to me, at least when I was doing the baseball games. And I think the story of how he discovered Vin going through doing one of those CBS football roundups on the roof of Fenway Park, and the BU athletic director calling CBS Sports to apologize to Red for what he put Vin through. And Vin was in a driving rainstorm. His spotting charts were destroyed before the first quarter was out. And the fact that Red did not realize that from the broadcast, that's what brought Vin Scully to us all. We still have him today.
Funniest moment you've had in your career?
Wow. Funniest on air?
On air.
Okay. Might be, I can't say this. There have been many times with Terry Crisp, who, shall I say, can every now and then slightly misspeak. One night he had a difficult time saying soccer kick, and I'll just leave it to you or your imagination as to how that came out. But it was a simulcast from San Jose, and my wife had just gotten in the car from visiting her family in Knoxville and didn't hear Terry say what he said, but did hear the fact that I was essentially rendered speechless for 90 seconds. And all she could hear was the sound of skates and the pucks and the
crowd,
boards, and that was it.
Now, a lot of guys have catchphrases. You know, John Forsman has, hey, hey, what do you say? Or he goes, that's hockey after a big goal. You have, it's Mary Kay time here in Nashville. I was just curious, has Mary Kay ever contacted you about a sponsorship deal?
And, why not? And we have no cosmetic sponsorships on the Predators right now. Hint, hint, Mary Kay Marketing Company. But, and obviously I use that for when I think that the officials are doing a makeup call for something.
As Gretzky says, we got Revlon.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think he knew Peter Revson pretty well, though, so that might have accounted for that. But, the Mary Kay is probably about the only one that you would say is something that sticks out regularly for me. When I was doing baseball and we were in Oklahoma City, since we were so close to Dallas, there was just one berm down the left field side where people would sit and sometimes go tumbling down, depending upon their lubrication levels. But I would always refer to it as the grassy knoll.
If you didn't become a broadcaster for hockey or for sports, what else interests you as a kid?
I think the writing. I think I would have gone back to writing. And I still have this ambition of writing several books about now my career, but also perhaps some sports interpretations, because I've been very fortunate. We've talked about some of the people that I have been in contact with through my career, and the Marv Levy's of this world, and doing Jim Kelly's radio show, and even because of the comeback game Frank Reich had, I got to host a TV show with Frank Reich for a while. So that sort of thing is what I would like.
Who's one person you've met in your broadcasting career that just you wanted to meet and were just absolutely enamored with? Sometimes you meet somebody, but as you get older, you meet people and you realize they're just people. But when you were early on in your career, who's somebody you met athletic-wise who just, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually got to meet him?
Roger Murdoch. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Getting the chance to talk with him, and the fact that what we held in common, very little, but I mean what we held in common was both going to Christian Brothers high schools, Nita Power Memorial and Mita Costa High School, and we would compare notes on that quite a bit. So he would, he'd ask me, hey, how many times did you get hit in the back of the head with a book?
Or get you hit, the yardstick on the knuckles, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. But Kareem, and I'm glad to see his real personality coming out more these last few years. I think he's enjoying life a little bit more. I think that was prodded by Magic Johnson and his rookie year bringing emotion back out of Kareem.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your time today. This has been awesome. Great
you.
Stories. I mean, I really wish you all the best the rest of the way going through. That'll do it for this edition of the Power Play Break. I'm Chris Riley. This is the Power Play Break, the place to talk about pucks.